Good evening, YouTube. Hello again. This is Douglas Phelps with another exclusive here at YouTube channel at youtube.com, Douglas Phelps. Anyways, today's topic is why the workforce is doomed in the state of Texas. I said I was going to tell a lot of personal details about myself. I was going to explain a personal story. I'm going to explain the facts. One of the things I do want to get out there, though, is the people I had to go to court to go to trial against in both a criminal court and a civil court, I've already beaten twice, right? I'm handling my stuff well with what I'm about to share involving TWC and why employment should be avoided in the state of Texas, right? But we're going to get into this. And I'm going to get into more details. Anyways, there's going to be some more things. Anyways, there's going to be lots of good information. And I would highly encourage that no matter who you choose to vote for, which, let's be honest, Gina Hinojosa, if you want economic improvement in Texas, is 50 times better than Governor Abbott. I don't even hate Governor Abbott, right? It's just, he's held everything back. What he created, his policies that go back to pre-COVID, and you can look this up, go back to creating a system of rebellion when it comes to W-2 employers. He put policies to make it so that TWC can and regularly does steal from the Texan people, right? That's why I'm going to vote for Hinojosa, because there's plans from her platform to fix TWC. It's so bad that even the frontline call center people that work at TWC know for a fact that TWC reform is a necessity at the Texas Workforce Commission. But we're going to get into this. Why the workforce is doomed, and why the workforce is doomed and should be avoided in Texas, and why, and what I know about it to help you on a lot of different levels. So let's begin. Basically, I had this job, right? Because I used to do security while working wholesaling. Before that, I had a previous security job, I believe, where I was working a hotel job. I also had my last bout by meeting Team Doonigan at eXp Realty, who, by the way, is not at eXp Realty anymore, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to say is, let's just say an employer really had it out for me, right? So he makes up a bunch of stuff in front of a rude, unprofessional hearing officer. And by the way, TWC already approved the unemployment when I was released from the Vail Security Group, and after that went on to try process serving on the side, as well as wholesaling real estate. And yeah, I was just doing one thing here, but then I'm over here. Now I have all the time in the world to donate to wholesaling real estate. I just kind of was spreading myself too thin, kind of like what people do very often when they're younger. But anyways, back to the story. So basically, because a hearing officer did not like me, not only was he rude and unprofessional, he also made a false claim of overpayment and demanded that I pay Texas Workforce Commission back for something that was legit to begin with, right? Because the employer could have moved me to another site, even if you were to go off of his hypotheticals, and they were asked to remove me, right? Anyways, but tell TWC that, aka also the people that have been audited successfully for favoring employers, But you know what they haven't, what TWC hasn't been audited for? Favoring unemployed workers in their claims, right? So let that sink in as one reason why you cannot trust the workforce in Texas, and it is the worst works out of all the states combined. Like, and Abbott has led willing workers into points of rebellion against W-2 employers. Or should I not say rebellion, but rebellion to the idea of application, of applying, and that solves everything, right? Abbott has literally weaponized the workforce for his stealing purposes. Now, you tell me how that's Republicans, because real Republicans favor free enterprise above all else. Anyways, that's just a bullet point. That's point one. There's 4 years of it, and I'll try to be as brief as possible and then get into the good bullet points of why W-2 employers are blacklisted by me and why you should consider doing the same and seeking outside using legal methods. Like, for me, wholesale. It's why I wholesale 100% full-time now. Sometimes, and when I can, I make YouTube videos, and I try to put helpful to the populist content. Anyways, moving forward. So we got this, where the disagreement started. Then, because I was calling and using my freedom of speech to protest, definitely not, they didn't like the protest, so therefore they go call a proven corrupt DPS department in Austin. I'm a San Antonian, so there's another bullet point. They also get a bunch of other names, even including a judge who's not honest enough to hold an active bench in a court. I'm not going to say the names, and like I said, I don't want any harm, but I definitely think peacefully protesting with letters to the governor, if you really care about the workforce, is a good idea. Not for me, because I've won against them. I have them for 2 sanctions right now that I could put in at any time. There's a violation of court orders. So I'm not really about that. You know what I mean? I'm about providing you information because you guys like to tell me you care about the workforce. Well, I'm trying to help you out with this video. You're welcome. Anyways, moving forward. So that's the first big piece. I was also on the streets going through this. So, a lot of different things, a lot of different feuding. Anyways, fast forward. So, so now we're going into the false charge case section done by TWC. So basically, if they don't like your opinion, at least back then, they can say whatever they want, and it's considered absolutely true by the Austin courts. Or at least that's what it was. I don't think that's what it is anymore. Because when I beat them, and I've proven that TWC's entire narrative, including the corrupt DPS officers' entire narrative, was junk. I'll just say corrupt DPS supervisor. You can look it up. An entire unit was labeled corrupt according to an Austin News article. Was charged with corruption. But like I said, I've even asked cops, how is that? How can a cop be charged with corruption yet still be allowed to operate and make a living being a DPS or a police officer? I've tried to ask the questions. I never really got a clear answer, but maybe when I get another chance, I'll try again. But anyways, I'm just telling you that, hey, that's another matter of record, that Austin has an entire unit of Department of Public Safety officers that, according to a news article, was charged with corruption. I'm not saying I know anything for absolute fact. With that being said, I don't see why a newspaper would write something like that and there not be a backlash. It's probably true enough. Anyways, moving, and based on what I've witnessed with a couple of their DPS officers, I'm inclined to believe it. Anyways, so when they make up a false charge of harassment, forget this, not liking the points I'm bringing up, while I'm just utilizing my right to protest, right? I wind up, after 4 resets and 2 evidence analysis, because, or maybe just 1, I mean, it does look like the prosecuting attorney didn't even look, because I don't see how you can be a prosecuting attorney based on lawyers I've met, and it's just a guess, I'm not saying I know, but based on lawyers I met, I don't see how you can be a prosecuting attorney and not do due diligence the first time when stuff is brought up to you. But either way, I'm not picking. This is just fact sharing. This is to show Texas what the reality of what workforce has become under Abbott. New pre-COVID policies, right? I'm just saying. And I'm not just picking on Abbott because I'm conservative or because I'm a Democrat, because I'm obviously not. I'm an independent. I vote for people that do good jobs, and I vote against people that do bad. Vote. Key phrase. Go to your box, vote. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't even tell people what to think. I just put the facts out there and I let them make their own decisions. Anyways, moving forward. So after 4 resets, 2 evidence rehash sessions, as if they did, maybe 1 because they didn't look at anything the first time, the prosecuting office. So they had 2 chances to come up with something for our case to be moved forward, for a false claim to be moved forward. Right? You know what happens? The prosecutor did not even have enough confidence to go to the second stage, which is making deals. It was dismissed. The prosecutor's office got yelled at by, get this, an Austin judge on behalf of a Bexar County resident who had traveling issues to go over there, right? So, with that being said, that's TWC Retaliation 101. They don't like my opinions when I protest, so therefore they weaponize the court system. And believe me, the prosecutor's office on both fronts already know too well. And it's almost guaranteed not to ever happen again, but don't know. Like I said, it would have to be like 50 times better than what than just blind faith like they had before. It gets rapidly dismissed. That's point 1. So now that pretty much, so then after that, I send an email to the prosecutor to have the whole thing and everything in it expunged. And it was proved because it was a junk trial. It kind of put a temporary stopper on moving, but so why am I telling you this? Like I said, to give you the real scoop that you could be missing when it comes to the workforce and it comes to the Workforce Commission. That's all I'm doing. So that's pretty much a major phase 1. So without going into any more details, eventually I ask the prosecutor, I get an expunction order. So that's one way I can file for sanctions / motions of contempt with TWC. Oh, it's already 15 minutes. Anyways, I'll try to wrap this up, get to the good bullet points, and why Texas is the worst state to consider for W-2 reasons. So pretty much moves on, and then I tried to even ask the Attorney General's office, hey, they're not stopping with this fraudulent overpayment TWCOs. And I really was challenged at the time I was just wondering if I called and I asked the Attorney General, Kim Paxton, hey, would you be willing to allow me a pass so I can go present this disagreement with the state in front of the Attorney General in the courts of the Texas state? Got no response. None at all. No email, no text message, no callback. So eventually, what did I have to do in order to get rid of TWC debt? False debt, just like false overpayment. False is a recurring theme when you're on their wanted list. And when they're paid, just like they were by their previous employer, I mean, I heard something money-ish being ruffled around the room between the Bell Security Group at the time contract manager and hearing officer. So yeah, I was literally probably bought so they could blacklist me for life from security and all W-2 employment. Anyways, so another case. So in order to get rid of it, and this is how ridiculous the Texas state laws are when it comes to handling business, because of all the immunities TWC has when it comes to pressing lawsuits and litigation against it. I mean, they act like criminals more than government. It's not like I don't get along great when I go to government offices. So anyways, long story short, the only way to beat them was to go through bankruptcy. In order to get rid of their fraud for good, I had to, and that's another place where I quickly won. So TWC is barred from that fraud debt forever. And if they don't, I can try the nice way and ask the collections unit to put a stopper on the fraud collection, or I can go to the bankruptcy court at any time for that listed false debt. And they were actually the main reason, and TWC and hearing officer misconduct were actually the main reason why I filed bankruptcy. And I've admitted this even to the court itself. So, with that being said, yeah, that's kind of the story. That's why. So what should the public glean from this? Based on my story, what should the public consider applicable at all to all? One, basically, if you just go to work and you cooperate 24/7 and you don't say nothing to Governor Abbott at the present time, and hopefully it's Gina Hinojosa, and that should be a very proactive thing that doesn't require as much complaint to the government, is know this. What should you glean from it? If you want to be an employee in Texas, be prepared to be stolen from with limited legal recourse to seek, right? From the TWC. Expect to be, and if you dare do what I did and protest the TWC, expect junk charges for them as something they will do. You know why? TWC is turned into the criminal, just like the workforce can get away with whatever misconduct it wants. And you can look at many different statistics. Like, here's a search engine, and I won't spell it out for you because it's not the topic, because I won't even get in too much into it. But here's a search engine search for you guys. EEOC San Antonio. Now, and basically what that is a list of employers in the city of San Antonio. And we're just talking about San Antonio alone. And I bet you this applies to every major city in Texas. Look at all the stuff they get away with on the regular. All these companies and their conduct. So, basically, it's like you got two choices. You can do like me. You can run your own business. Dare to take the leap, the plunge. Every day, on time, every time. Be a business owner. Be an independent contractor. Be self-employed. Or or you can go to another state and do W-2 employment there. Texas is the worst state to be an employee at. And keep in mind, I know this is negative sounding. I'm not trying to be negative sounding. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to say if you really care about the workforce, you really should be sending peacefully protesting letters, which you can do at the state governor's website, so that these abusive practices of TWC against the workforce stops. You can talk to your state senators. Keep bugging them. They don't answer to one person. They're not accountable to one person. They're accountable to the public, right? So if I go in and I say something that's just me, it's just me. That's just how it goes with public offices, you know? Like, and I've even been noted as not having a problem with any other government office. And I'm not even saying everybody that works at TWC is bad. As a matter of fact, the TWC front lines have the same sickness of the corruption that's in it, caused by Governor Abbott, that even the public feels, believe it or not. So think about it, Texas. If you really care about your W-2, for those that care about their W-2, start putting governor letters in, unless you like being stolen, having your money stolen by Texas Workforce Commission. That's a fact. It's a matter of record, and it's a fact. Anyways, for those that are like me and knows that pathway is closed forever, that it's done for and over, stick around. I definitely put a lot of my content out here that covers making money off the grid. That's pretty much what the whole channel is about. Stay tuned. Take care.